Hello, I hope you're doing well. Let's continue our study of Hilchot Pesach. By the time Pesach usually ends, we are feeling bloated. We've eaten so much matzah, we don't want to see matzah again for a whole year. However, there is that short period of time, right before Pesach, that we look forward to, that we yearn to eat matzah. But here's an interesting question. Are you allowed to eat matzah on Erev Pesach? The 14th. Now this year, the 14th of Nisan falls out on Shabbat, and Leil HaSeder is going to be on Motzaei Shabbat. Can you eat matzah on that day, leading up to Leil HaSeder? Now the Talmud Yerushalmi teaches us in the 10th parak of Masachet Pesachim, Amar Rabbi Levi teaches us that eating matzah on the 14th is keba'al arusato b'veit chamiv. It's like having actually relations with one's fiancé before being married. So this is absolutely prohibited. How severe is this prohibition? There are some who suggest, the Baal HaHalachot Gdolot, the Sefer HaRokeach, that it may even be an Isur D'Oraita, based on the fact that the Pasuk says, Ba'erev tochlu matzot. Only eat matzah at night, and not on the 14th itself. Now, what part of the 14th are you not allowed to eat matzah? So here we have a debate amongst the Rishonim. Some Rishonim, the Baal HaMor, for example, says that you cannot eat matzah from 6 hours into the day. The Rosh and the Ritva say from 4 hours into the day. The Ramban says it's all day of the 14th. The Orchot Chaim goes back even further and says it's from the time that you do B'tikat Chametz. You may not eat matzah. But here's the question. What type of matzah are we talking about? No doubt, the matzah that we eat on Leil HaSeder you cannot eat, but what about matzah ashira? What about enriched matzah? Matzah that is made with fruit juice or with lots of oil. Can you eat that? So the Baalei Tosafot and Masachet Pesachim Daf Tzadi Tet teach us that you can have matzah ashira on Erev Pesach because you cannot fulfill the mitzvah of matzah at night with matzah ashira, so you can have it on Erev Pesach. By the way, Ashkenazim don't eat this for all of Pesach. Sfaradim do eat enriched matzah throughout Pesach. They're permitted to do it. How do we pasken halakha l'maaseh? So the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah debate these issues, and the Shulchan Aruch teaches us that you are allowed to have matzah ashira on Erev Pesach. The Ramah prohibits it. The Mishnah Berurah also prohibits it. And the Ramah says you shouldn't eat matzah ashira or regular matzah the entire day of Erev Pesach. Now, what are we going to do this year when Erev Pesach falls out on Shabbat and you have to have Sudah Shlishit in the afternoon? So what are you going to have your Sudah Shlishit? What are you going to eat? So for Sfaradim, based on this, Sfaradim will eat matzah ashira before the 10th hour, so they don't eat a big feast too close to the Leil HaSeder. And Ashkenazim, the Ramah writes that they should eat fruit or meat or fish as their Su'udah Shlishit before Pesach begins. Now, 3 final points that just flesh this out further. Number 1, does this prohibition apply to children? The answer is yes. Even children should not be eating matzah on Erev Pesach so that they eat it b'te'avon, so that they look forward to the matzah on Leil HaSeder. Number 2, what about chayalim? I remember when I was in the army that they cleaned out the kitchens and they started giving us matzah 4 days before Pesach. So we're eating matzah for 11 days straight. And the truth is, even a chayal, unless it's absolutely necessary, should not eat matzah on Erev Pesach either. One should be careful about this. You have to plan ahead, obviously, to make sure you have food when on Erev Pesach. Final point. When I grew up, and my mom has continued this custom, my Safta Alea Shalom used to always make fried gefilte fish on Erev Pesach. That's what we would eat for lunch. Now, fried gefilte fish was gefilte fish with fried matzah, matzah crumbs, matzah meal. Are you allowed to have that on Erev Pesach? And the answer is, because it is mitugan, because it is baked, broken down into matzah meal, and then fried, therefore it has lost its status as matzah, and you can have fried gefilte fish on Erev Pesach. So lots of things to think about, but Bezrat Hashem, we should be able to fulfill this mitzvah of eating matzah on Erev Pesach b'te'avon. You should just be aware there are some who are machmir not to eat matzah all of Chodesh Nisan or even 30 days before Pesach, which is the period that we are already in. Wishing you a great day, Kol Tov.